Hey everyone, I'm Matt Willmington, and I want to talk to you about leading second. One of my favorite Bible characters is Aaron. And I want to ask you a question today. Are you an Aaron or are you a Moses? You know, we've said that being a Moses or an Aaron is, both of them are fine. You've got to serve God no matter what place that he has put you into. But Aaron is one of my heroes because he actually led second his whole life. Now, technically, he was 80 when he started, 83 when he started, and he led God's people for many years. You can read about his life in Exodus and the rest of the Pentateuch. But Aaron is one of those kind of unsung heroes because Moses gets the spotlight, but Aaron does so much as a second chair leader to support him. And so you may want to take some time and actually just scan through Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and just see what Aaron's life was like. Just some quick points from his life. As you remember, Moses was called to take God's people out of bondage and into the promised land. Moses didn't want to go by himself, and God chose Aaron to go with him. Aaron was his older brother. And Moses went and got Aaron and brought him to see the place where God had talked to him about the burning bush, about the vision. So let me just run through some quick points of Aaron's life as you think about how he served alongside of Moses and their sister Miriam and Joshua and several others. Aaron his role was partner for life. It was Batman and Robin. He was with Moses until he died. They were always a team. There were times that they were on their face before God, and they had locked shields, and they were praying for God's people, even when God's people were complaining and trying to vote them out. He was brought into the vision before anyone else was. He was an early adopter. He was standing there, and he got to hear the vision that Moses got from God before they ever went to the elders, before they ever went to Pharaoh. Aaron was bold with Moses before Pharaoh. Here he is, this old man, and he has courage. And the two of them are standing there in front of one of the most powerful leaders in the world. Aaron was compassionate with Moses in front of the people for the Lord. He had great compassion. There's times where they're weeping and they're crying out to God and they're trying to save the people with their prayers. Aaron is known, as you read about him, he was very zealous for the holiness of God. When people sinned, it just broke his heart. In his life, he didn't just stay in the kind of the partner role, even though he was Moses. They were partners, but he didn't stay as his assistant. He transitioned from Moses' assistant to the leader of the priests. And then we know his job kind of went to Joshua because Joshua was ultimately going to be the leader. He had, like all leaders, he had up times and down times. He showed jealousy one time towards Moses and his wife and gossiped. He and Miriam kind of gossiped, and Miriam must have done a little bit more because she got some leprosy. But God corrected them because of their back talk, of their meeting after the meeting, their disrespect, as it were, for Moses. Some of his own sons, very tragically, even though he was following God, some of his own sons were killed because of their lack of respect for God. He died at age 123 years, which isn't too bad, but he did it due to his impatience with the water and the rock episode. We remember that Moses got angry and struck the rock in front of the people, and God said, "That's it, you can't go into the promised land." But we forget, Aaron was right there with him, and God looked at both of them, and they must have both lost their cool in front of the people. And he couldn't go into the promised land just like Moses because of his impatience. But ultimately, his lineage, his sons, his ancestors, or those that came after him, they were ultimately the second chair leaders. They were the priests. And ultimately, this is where John the Baptist comes from, the forerunner of Jesus himself. So real quick, as a second chair leader, let's learn some quick lessons. Three things from his life that we need to watch out for as second chair leaders. First of all, he lost control. He lost control. You remember, he is the one who is responsible for the golden calf. Moses goes up the mountain to get the commandments for 40 days, and he lost control of the people. He let the people, the scriptures say, break out. He stood in front of Pharaoh boldly. He stood with Moses, But when the people turned on him, he couldn't handle it, so he lost control. Number two, he lost respect. There were times where he complained and he competed with Moses in just some subtle ways. And so there were some times of lack of respect. And the third one, as we saw, he lost his patience. He lost his patience with the people, and God judged him for it. So as second chair leaders, we need to learn the lesson. We need to not lose control of the people. We need to keep our respect for the leaders that God's put over us. We need to keep our patience with the people. The good we can learn from Aaron's life, I've mentioned several of those things that I just went through, is the fact that he transitioned so well between assignments. He went from that early adopter. He was the only one who had really seen the place of the vision. It was just the two of them. He moved from there to being on the main stage. It was Moses and Aaron's show, and he was always right there. And then he went to become the leader of the priest, and his job went to Joshua, and finally he was phased out. Are you okay to shift through the seasons that God gives you, the assignments that he gives you? And another thing that's great about Aaron is that he was passionate about the holiness and service of God. That's why he became the leader of the priests. As a second chair leader, why don't you think and talk amongst yourselves, your friends and your pastors? Do you keep control of the people? Are you showing respect for the leaders above you and around you? And are you keeping patience with the people? We need to be like Aaron in the good things and learn from the bad things that he did. But we need to learn how to follow first and lead second. God bless you.